comprised the virtual and the real. This intriguing conversation between Anusha Yadav and Veeranganakumari Solanki will explore the multifaceted nature of memory as both a subject and a source of contemporary art. Anusha Yadav is a photographer, photo researcher and archivist, and a book designer. After a 17-year career in graphic design and advertising, she began working as an independent photographer who is exhibited at the Jahangir Art Gallery, the UCLA Mondavi Art Gallery, the Delhi Photo Festival, the NCPA Gallery, Madera Gallery, Tasveer Gallery, and Art Motive Gallery. Her series Portraits of a City was exhibited as public art on the banks of the river Salzach in Salzburg, Austria in 2010. Anusha is perhaps most well known as the founder of the Indian Memory Project, the world's first online visual and narrative-based archive. The project traces a personal history of the Indian subcontinent via photographs found in personal archives. Joining the discussion is Veeranganakumari Solanki, an independent curator and art writer. She was a participant in the first Guangzhou Biennale International Curators Course. Her curatorial experience involves research, curating and co-curating exhibitions, as well as writing for several journals and art publications on emerging Indian, Asian and international artists and their practices. She has been on the jury panel of the Art Laguna Prize and a recipient of the Iris Estate Art. Her next project is an exhibition on sport and art in collaboration with Sachin Tendulkar and 10 Indian contemporary artists. The show opens at the NGMA Mumbai this December. Look forward to an insightful discussion on art and memory, followed by a question and answer round with our speakers. Thank you.
Nandan here. He works with digital memory. What this show aims to do is take you through different aspects of memory which we all relate to, and through different, whether it's digital memory, sound, smell, we all relate to memory in various ways and connect it with our own personal map. So in walking through the exhibition, each of them is a very personal memory. They also decided to make it public in some way. So we have Nandan here, who works with digital memory, where the works which deal with degeneration of memory in the digital age are old photographs layered with these blue pixels which the artist invites you to take away. He's commenting on the digital gangrene of memory, where when you have an old photograph while trying to preserve it, it's also within the digital era where we somehow lose context of what we want to preserve as a memory, where we take away from the digital in a way that in keeping a memory we're actually losing out in some way. And at the same time you have Payal Kapadia, who works with a tale of two fictionalized narratives in 3 different languages, which are evoked through dreams and memories. Reminiscing the forest, her work objectifies memories in a longing for a loss of nature and also with memories of the past. A woman pines for a lost husband who is metaphorically the forest, and her desires are triggered by the last anchor of the season. So these objects of memories of moments, are further collected in a bowl where you can leave a letter to an object of memory. The next work which you see, and also what Payal does is that she's also going back to past lives in some way, where you have a woman who's written a letter to the forest, whom she also considers her husband. And you have sand dunes and bulls who are working with an immersive sound and visual installation, where sand dunes has specifically created sound where she responded to the concept note and went back to looking at youthful pockets of memory that eventually delved into the dimension of space and the artist's ambition of tumbling back into multiple lifetimes. She's worked very closely with wolves who are also visual artists who create visual scapes in concerts and soundscape in concerts, and also in places where you have sound, which is a very important element. And sound in itself is something where it's again becomes a very personal memory, where when you relate to a sound, somebody may have a happy memory, it may evoke some nostalgia. So each of these takes on a very personal element of memory when it goes back to
partition, because partition had the whole, it was the Holocaust of the Indian subcontinent. we might as well just call it that, and in fact, not stop trying to hide behind these other things. It was, and in fact, it was maybe even worse. And it's just that, and now it's being recorded, the bad story. But the interesting part is that how we look at partition is in my opinion, how I look at it is it was not right. It was just, it didn't need to happen that apart. But there are also, Indian Memory Project will tell you, people found opportunities because of partition. Because there was a sudden surge of new life, there was a sudden new opportunity. They made the best of it. They went and claimed land in Aurangzeb Road in Delhi, they went and claimed land in Bombay, they are now wealthy, rich families doing very well. But there's the whole opium industry on bandstand apparently is built on opium. And it's just interesting how in every crisis there's an opportunity. It's true, and then you have to just look at that time, literally objectively, and present facts as they are. And archives are meant to be interpreted by people who use them. We can't sit and tell people what is right and wrong.
And in some way, I think in that manner, we all go back to these isolated gaps in the mind of memory.
And we can choose what works for us at convenience, which is exactly what human behavior is that we pick and choose what works for us. It is not about anything
There's really
else.
nobody else who can intrude in that space, because what you decided in your mind is a memory. No matter what anybody else said, it's going to remain as your own personal memory.
And as far as bad memories are concerned, it's very interesting when there was a discussion with Devdutt, and Devdutt Patnaik, who said that if you want to talk about a bad memory for a man, talk about humiliation. Mm-hmm. And when you want to talk about a bad memory for a woman, talk about abandonment. And this is two basic sad, bad memories are about either of the two. And it's everything is based on that. Everything that is, we base a lot of our decisions to compensate for our weaknesses. And that's how life progresses, based on memory. Yeah, so I have one, this is all we have to say. And I have a short video that is on YouTube, but I show this to a lot of people. This is something I made as literally a quick video to get people to come and contribute stories and take pride in what we have, because we don't really know what we have as a country. And it's also because I believe we are not a country, we're a continent pretending to be a country. And so we just don't know enough. We don't, because we all get to information that is only limited for our lives and doesn't take us outside on different people's accomplishments that have really made this into an interesting subcontinent. So I'm just going to show you a little video. There is one spelling error, please forgive that.
your question, please. It's not actually a question. Trigger of memories. Actually, I remember my father showing his mother's photograph. She's grandmother all by herself. But then it triggered off a lot of stories, like right from the necklace she was wearing, the kanjivaram she was wearing, it spread like a banyan tree, the whole story. That's one thing. The other is, we are talking about actual photographs. But then I was thinking all along, there were a lot of photographs, there was a video show going on in my mind. Okay, a lot of memories, a lot of things they have stored. I don't have to see a photograph. My childhood experience, I got lost 3 times as a child and landed in a police station. King Circle police station, and I refused to come out because they fed me with chocolates and other things. All these memories, they come back, and sometimes they appear in my dreams. Now, do we always depend on actual photographs to tell stories? Now, I can tell you, if you have the time, I have all the time in the world to tell you stories. There are lots and lots in my mental photographs. Okay, so I was wondering, how this kind of memory works, how the dots are connected, how is it happening? Sometimes they are unrelated, but sometimes there is a larger picture, they all fall in place.
Yes.
They are related.
Yes.
Individually, they don't seem to have any connection. But then when you see them in a perspective, you find that there is a lot of connection. For example, the necklace that my grandmother wore and the necklace that my mother was wearing, there was some connection because it was copied, the design was copied. So I was thinking, this is just a reaction to what you are saying. I'm not contributing anything, but this is personal.
It's a contribution. I can chase you up on the pictures. But it's just that, see, a photograph is a memory which is not necessarily personal, because if it was that personal, then you wouldn't be into pictures. But it is meant to be, it's meant to become a shared memory. And that's what photographs do. And especially when you want to tell a story, it's a great context, because we all think of memories in visuals. And that is how we remember them actually, is also if we illustrate the image. So if somebody said that Indira Gandhi is walking up the stairs, I would imagine her walking up the stairs. And it would be, I've illustrated the memory, and that's when it becomes a form, an idea that can be. And so these are mental, yes, but these are mental images. Either way they are images. It's not just
an object as a memory. I mean, it could be any form, like music, the artist, for instance. The way you interpret memories, it could be in the form of a storybook or in the form of an object, in the form of a photograph. It's an element of memory.
I wanted to share something. You mentioned that women are the keepers of the memory. It's
most of the time.
Yes, it's an anthropological fact because we have the speaking center and on both sides of the brain, and we have a capacity to argue because of words, as against the men who have capacity to talk 7,000 words. So if you ask a woman at any given time, how does she feel? She can describe 1,000 words because she has that kind of connection with her brain. And she was given the task to teach the language, whereas the men had to be silent because they were hunters. But when you're looking into the modern world, and men are also the salesmen, so they are also developing the capacity in a lot of talking. Of course, women are giving up, but men are also developing. This is how the modern world is, the changing world. And on a personal level, I got a lot of stories from my father. He used to read to us from Urdu, the stories of many, many centuries ago. And we used to have a daily session of half an hour to 1 hour, which used to just not read it. He used to read from the Urdu, from the Grisha, and everything. And such deep bonding because of those stories. So it's not just the women who are the keepers of the memory, but also fathers.
No, it's not about just storytelling. It's also in what other ways is memory passed down. It's traditions, I think. Just through things like making a rangoli on Diwali, or embroidery, all kinds of things. And that's how it's not just the story. It's also these other devices that
And because we are just two sisters, and many people who are girls and who just the things or just the same things. And the father also takes a lot of interest.
Yeah, sure. No, I'm only saying only women do it, but it's a feminine trait.
Yeah.
All men have feminine traits and all women have masculine traits. It's just that
And
which one do you
I
engage with?
And so I find my husband trying to teach them, studies and establishment and storytelling and punching and photography. And I try to teach them my paintings and my paintings and that stuff.
Yeah. But if
Authors also.
but it's I personally feel it's a feminine idea.
It's the anthropological bent of the,
I just want to say I love your movie. Most people don't realize that analog film immersion. This kind of attitude is very wrong because any good person at the end of the day before sleeping, he will want to see what good memories I have created throughout the day. Have I seen a beautiful girl who I can still remember, or a good music? So we have this very fast attitude, like a very robotic nature, delete and start a new day. So I think to create life is to create good memories. On bad.
Stop taking pictures.
Well, I'm on Instagram, so I don't.
Stop taking pictures.
Of whom? Me? Okay. So I'll remember more, that's what you're telling me.
When you're taking pictures, you're not really in the moment.
I'd been to one of the pictures here you showed of Andaman and Nicobar tribals. I'd spent about a week in Andaman and Nicobar a few years back, and we wanted to go and meet some of the tribal people, and we were told that it's absolutely impossible. You have to get there in some reservation, and you got to get all kinds of permission. But my friend told me that it just so happened at that time when we were there, one of these people was in the hospital in the city. So he told me you can go and see the guy in the hospital. So when we went to the hospital, we had a camera, and I took out the camera to take his pictures. And one of the younger people, there are a few of those people that go. It was an event for them to come to the hospital. So he told me you can't take his picture, and I said why? And he said that we believe that if you take the picture, you rob him of his soul. And this
It's a well-known, I don't even know what it's called. It's an idea that is floated by many people. It's possible, but but it's there's an over interest in photographs, and this we're documenting everything, and that's I think which is why there's a feeling of disconnection, and especially in urban lives. There is a disconnect is because everything is ether. It's Facebook and Twitter, and it comes and goes, and we're not retaining much information except for cribbing about the government, which everybody does all the time anyway. And so that is one consistent agenda. But other than that, there's nothing much. But there are too many pictures. There are too many very bad pictures.
Can you have these
Only one which only encompasses one side, which is sight. Because if there's no sight, then but every smell is about it. You can smell it. You can see the image in your head. It does something to you emotionally through your body. It's incredible what.
I think it's Jhumpa Lahiri who's also written a book called Smell, which is only about memory through smell.
Yes, I was talking about that because when especially some people in your family, say elderly people, they use some type of lavender. You may forget them totally, but when you smell that lavender again,
Even with sound, the work downstairs by sand dunes and wolves, the sound has been created purely on memories of youth, memories of the past. So when you listen to something, it could evoke nostalgia, anger. I mean, these are all things where it could be an emotion that actually reminds you of memory. Or even taste of food that reminds you of your grandmother. I mean, it's something that you may have eaten when you were a child, or something that you eat only with your grandparents. It's everything that
Sounds are also earliest.
No, there's also how memory was tactile. You could touch a photograph, you could touch a piece of material, a cloth, an embroidery. It was tactile, it was, the people had to dial the phone to talk to somebody. It was so much effort required in reliving an idea, that we don't have that. So it's just gone, and I don't know what's going to happen.
And in fact, talking about that, so Reena Kala, she created a work of saris with tie and dye where it was she replicated the recipes of her mother in braille. So it was only if you knew how to read braille through the touch, because she didn't remember her mother. She passed when she was very young, and it's only the feel of the sari that reminded of her mother. But all she had of her mother's memory were recipes, which she replicated through tie and dye on these saris. So I mean, there again you have touch and a written
Do you
memory.
think memory lives on after death? Like there's a soul, remember?
If you wanted to live on, it can.
You pass it on, it's genetic memory.
I mean, there's a soul
When
or...
deja vu happens.
Ancestral memory. Possibly.
It really depends on what it's
You can do it.
An ancestral memory. How would I know it's ancestral and not constructed? I'm not the person to mention.
I'm glad you met this person or you're sure with this face.
But there are stories of children who remember their past, and like Solar Killa by Ati Sachit still. The child remembers his past and reads.
No, but we are a country who will reincarnate. So, you know, we believe in reincarnation, which is why nothing happens in this lifetime.
Now I teach art to kids, and I tell them observation is very important. How important do you think explaining to kids in the schooling level it is to keep observing things and make like physical records of it? Like nowadays, for example, people only show them or tell them, okay, go online and look for XYZ thing instead of actually going to the place and doing it. So when I teach art, I tell the kids, okay, we're going to the gallery, so we're going to the museum or whatever it is. How important do you think it is that we stress on that aspect in the younger days of the kids?
The best form I have figured out is experience it. If nothing else can give an impact as much as experiencing it. If you want, you can't just watch somebody doing the pottery, you have to do it. And you can't paint, you make mistakes, you cook the bad food, you burn the halwa and you go for it. Including doing ballet. I mean, it took me 5 years to learn how to cycle because I just couldn't until one day. You can, but experience is the best way to teach.
It's something I just don't see happening right now in schools, in colleges, even kindergarten. Like people will show them pictures of letters
It's
instead
so
of
easy to
showing
have
them how to
access
write.
to us through the internet that you almost don't want to take the effort or the
Right.
time to want to experience it.
Or parents not encouraging, right? It is time consuming to take your child across Khar to Kolaba for a pottery class. It's 3 hours gone. And it's, I mean, I'm just giving Bombay as an example, but it is the effort that one would put in. And the thing is also schools. At that time, I think they also had, maybe our schools encouraged more experience than they do now.
Absolutely. Yeah, true.
Because we had that.
I was curious how the project effectively works. You ask people to contribute their family photos or photographs, whatever photographs linked with memories, but they have to load it up to a website, and then what is the final outcome? Is it a website? Is it a book? Is it a film? Is it an exhibition?
The website is the final product, and it is online and it's for free. And then I do use it for other things in exhibitions. No books right now. I have no interest in doing a book. I think it has a very small, short shelf life for a project like this. But exhibitions, shows, collaborations with other projects because of this. But how images come to me is through people. They send me a photograph with most of the times 3 lines.
And do you do a selection, or do you put them all in?
No, I do a selection.
Yeah.
Because
And do you also select on having a bit of all ranges in society, or
all. It does.
the
there is
best
no-
pictures? You take the
As
best
long as
pictures.
it fulfills the criteria, and I have a criteria, the pictures have to be from before 1991, the pictures have to belong to you, and you have to have a story, and you can identify everybody in the picture. That's all.
What was the also?
You can identify everybody in the picture.
Ah, yeah.
So you know who they are.
Yeah.
And what is your connection? And you have to be the guardian of the picture, otherwise you wouldn't know what is so special about it. And it's very interesting, either there's extreme pride or extreme low self-esteem about your own family. There is no in between. It's just, because otherwise they like, my family was useless, it didn't do anything. But my family did this great thing, and I want to talk about it. But it's just that there are all kinds, and then all of them contribute. Even if you mention a school you went to, that becomes a category and a form of history. So,
I have a story to tell you. My mother's 84 years old, and she's the eldest of her generation, and she has a very large family. And for the last 10 years, she has been sent so many photographs by her cousins and nieces and nephews and grandchildren and all sorts of people, asking her to identify who people are in pictures that they've been able to. And she has been doing that service to the family. She's been telling them who's who. Because a picture has no meaning unless you know who is in it.
yeah.
And that's exactly what you're trying to talk about. So maybe someday you should meet her.
Yes.
Because she has all these stories, you know. And a lot of those pictures, she knows who they are because, not because she was old enough to know them. She's 2 years old in some of those pictures, but because her mother told her who's who. So there is this kind of cumulative knowledge that has come through family pictures. And some of them are sitting in my cupboard now. And I think they need desperately to be identified. And it's always the women. My grandmother told me it's the women of the family who pass on history. You know? So it's just beautiful, this, how you brought everything together. And we all have these stories. And as the lady there said in the corner,
3 times in the police station, I want that story.
but I think the value of a photograph will never go away. I disagree with you. Even if it is Instagram, an Instagram picture has value. It might be very easy to take. And I agree there are too many of them, but it is a moment of memory. And you touch the screen at the point when it is important to you.
Yeah.
Maybe the memory is not important 5 seconds later or 10 years later, or maybe it's more important 10 years later. But it is important.
No, I'm not saying that it is not important. I'm just saying that the context that it will exist in, I have no clue about. Because everything needs a context to find value in.
I think there are 2 kinds of things that we find in photographs. One is what you consciously frame, and one is what gets captured. So maybe what is consciously framed will have no value like the number of the banya. But maybe the paper on which it was written will have a lot of value when someone sees it 10 years later. We don't know. So the capturing of a photograph has so many layers that we can only find stories which were to be told and which are discovered. You know? So that can be another way of doing it. Yeah.
I agree. Instagram.
You know, for me, there's one picture that's very important, and I'm so glad that I printed it out and it sits next to my bedside, on my bedside table. Well, that's the picture that was taken by my daughter when she was 14. And it's just my husband and me. It's a very beautiful moment that's been captured. But that was taken at the last anniversary that we spent together. You know, and that picture does everything to me. So I feel that having a physical picture can be very therapeutic.
Yeah.
Extremely. Yeah. So although we have thousands of pictures like that one photograph is very special.
And you never know which one is going to be that special.
Yes.
Exactly. So we all need to do that. Aleka says I didn't take any pictures of her growing up.
She's very clear.
Do you see a trend of read photography? You know, like when you know read photography?
No. Yeah, which John Malkovich has been doing, right? Recently, he's creating all the masters.
So we were going to do a workshop with him, and I thought it was quite fascinating.
John Malkovich is the guy, some photographer who's got John Malkovich to pose in all the famous pictures of Dorothea Lange, of the immigrant
But
woman.
you do it for yourself, I mean, not.
I don't know. I'm not interested in it, but what I am interested in is, for example, we discovered on the forensic project that I'm doing is the Nanavati case of the famous crime of passion, where the actual forensic, there are no forensic pictures of the crime, but they had to recreate the crime scene and took photographs of that, and that became evidence, and that was the most bizarre way of getting evidence, but nonetheless, so that is a recreation, which is. Crime scenes is something, which is something, there's a the guy who actually created the skill of photographing crime scenes was this guy called Alphonse Bertillon, who also invented the mugshot. And how, because he wanted to standardize how people look at criminals, which is this way and same size, same length and everything. And he also created something called the crime scene from the top view, which is called God's own view. And when they started getting printed in newspapers, it was a form of, it's how journalism also came about, and crime journalism, which was how do I make a connection with the reader and the crime, was because the reader would look at these crime scenes and say, oh my God, that looks like my house. And that's the feeling they wanted to create, was make it seem like this could happen to you, and therefore you should pay attention. Because otherwise nobody was that interested in, who was being murdered and they were interested, but not really in the images. But until he started making their houses look like your house. And that's how you connect, and how photographs are manipulated to use